MedBix Webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges on our live programming. Welcome to MedBix Webcast. This is Raman Anamaraju. I'm the host of the MedBix Webcast. No, I'm not Albert Einstein, but I'm pretty good. So we have a very great program today. I'm going to introduce you former OBGYN chief of Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles. I'm going to bring him to the stage. But I have a great program today. I'm going to present the polymath physicians. Why? What is a polymath? Polymath is doctors who like to learn, like Dr. Gergely, the guest I'm going to introduce, is familiar with all the other fields, not just their own field, not just focus on just medicine. They learn art, technology, philosophy, the physics, chemistry, and mathematics. All of them they need to learn. That is the key of the new future physicians. The physician game is over just focusing on one field because the reason is that the technology is taking over, Silicon Valley is taking over. So what you need to do is you need to learn and expand your horizon, all the doctors, and learn other fields. That is, they used to be very common in the old days. I'm going to introduce those people, what they inspired, the doctors who did so many other things. So I'm going to introduce them. And then so they like a doctor, the present guest. So that is then also at the end, I have a treat. I have a treat for you. It is nothing to do with nothing to do with the medicine. It is something is different. I am from a small village in India. My village people, the director is from my village. One of the movie won the Golden Globe Award, Indian song. I'm going to play that song. It won the Golden Globe Award yesterday. I'm going to play that song at the end of the show. But anyway, Robert, let me introduce you. Robert Gergely is a physician he was a former physician, former OBGYN chief at the Cedars-Sinai, and he came from different countries. He lived in Romania and Israel. Let me bring him to the table, and I'll ask him. Welcome, Doctor Gergely.
Yes,
Welcome
I'm
to
here.
the MedBix Webcast. So tell me a little bit about your background. Where are you from, and how you came to the States, and where you were born, and all those things.
It's a long story, as you can understand. I was born in Romania. When I was a year old, my parents, who were survivors of the Holocaust, emigrated to Israel, and I grew up in Israel. I went to school in Israel. I went to the army in Israel. I've graduated medical school in Tel Aviv University. I was a flight surgeon with the Israeli Air Force. And when I was 30, I managed to come to the United States. I got a job at Mount Sinai in New York. Then they asked me to stay for another year. I came basically for 1 year. They asked me to stay for another year and do a fellowship in perinatology, which is high risk obstetrics. And then I got recruited to Cedars-Sinai to do my second year, and I followed the sun and I moved west. Then I finished my fellowship. I became the director of obstetrics for quite a while. And then I opened my private practice at Cedars-Sinai Medical Towers. And I was practicing for about 20 years there.
So you must have delivered a lot of babies, right?
I delivered the babies, but mainly high-risk babies.
Okay,
Babies whose mother had diabetes, hypertension, and other disorders. That's my subspecialty.
So the patients at that time, how the medical records used to work, how they used to, how you used to gather the medical records of the patients during those time.
How say it again?
The medical records of the
As you know,
patients during that time, how they used to bring to the, how you used to collect the information.
I got the question. Medical records were paper, and every doctor had a closet in his office where medical records were organized by name and by various codes and kept at the doctor's office, or the hospital kept it in their own basement. The decision to digitalize medical records came about 2004. At that time, President George W. Bush signed an executive order and spoke about it at the State of the Union on February 20th, 2004, and said the following: that within 8 to 10 years, every citizen will have his own personal medical record. And basically, what is offered is a decentralized system where every patient has its own record. So it's not going to, in a digital format. So it's not going to be paper in the doctor's office, but it's going to be all digital. And then in 2009, Bush, the president, started ONC, which is the coordinator at HHS, to lay out this beautiful program. And 2009, when the new administration came to the White House, the goal of ONC changed dramatically. Instead of a decentralized system, they decided, they got ordered from the White House to centralize medical records, meaning that one vendor or two vendors will centralize everybody's medical records in America. And that's what happened. Our medical records are all fragmented, hoarded in silos. For you to get your record, you have to query for it. You're lucky if you can get it. If you're the doctor and you look for a record of a patient, the whole
Dr.
system.
Kedri, the purpose of centralized medical records is everybody is supposed to be easier, but it was not easier. It became much more difficult, right? That's what you're saying.
It became impossible.
Yes.
When you fragment medical records to so many entities, radiology entities, billing entities, or laboratory entities, it all fragmented. It's not working. It was an experiment of the American technology ONC in the government, and the experiment failed. 20 years went by. It cost and spent about $80 billion with a B. And basically, nobody has a longitudinal, individual, complete medical record. And that was unacceptable to me.
So, yeah, the Epic, Cerner, all these people took over and they wanted to control the patient's data. They're not sharing the data. That's another problem, isn't it?
The minute the data is entered into the EHR, which is the electronic health record, the data is out of your control or anybody's control. Everybody can get into it if they care to, and it's being modified by the computer, structured, manipulated to come out eventually in the format that you can see on your patient portal, which is absolutely has no medical value.
Yeah.
It's good for instant gratification for the patient, but for another doctor, it means nothing. We need the medical clinical note. It's a narrative, it's a text where the doctor puts in his experience, his impression, and his suggestion into what this patient needs. Now that's crucial. And it's like the work product of a physician. You cannot modify it, you cannot structure it, you have to leave it as is. And the future doctors will look at it and they already will have some impression of what you might have based on your medical history. And that's what basically is really lacking. And what I'm offering is a way for every patient, now that the Cures Act passed and was enforced in
The
October.
Cures Act, right? Yeah.
Cures Act was enforced, not enforced yet, but effective as of October 6th, this past October, which means that every patient has the right to request their medical records, the original medical records, and the doctor is obligated, mandated to provide their record. If you digitally, it's going to be free. So a patient can ask the doctor, email me the medical note that you wrote for me. And I would like also the instructions. I want to see black and white when I go home from the office on my laptop or my computer. What did you find and what are the instructions? Most patients forget half of the instructions by the time they leave the office, the doctor's office. So this is going to be a good reminder for them. They got to get engaged. They might learn something. They can Google terms that they don't understand. And once they finished, they forward it to a safe deposit box in the cloud, which is uniquely theirs. And there they can start aggregating their medical records. They have the security on that safe deposit box provided by blockchain technology, and they are controlling who can get into the box or who cannot get into the box using their own cell phone, where a QR code, which is the key to the safe deposit box, is on the screen of the phone. And then when they go to any doctor, all what they have to do is to show the QR code. They're gonna scan it and they're gonna have the whole medical record or the parts you allow them to. They're gonna have the whole thing. The new doctor will have it on his computer screen. It's basically like the old paper record, but this time in a digital format.
So, a lot of people get mistaken with the blockchain and the Bitcoin. Blockchain is a mathematical, I wanted to let me explain to the audience. Blockchain is a mathematical framework. You cannot you cannot penetrate. It's a technology, they use technology, but the blockchain is a mathematical framework that unpenetrable. Only that is a the, it is a like it is a, you cannot say lie. You have to, everything has to be recorded in the blockchain. So that is the chain has to be, the chain cannot be broken. And the democracy at the best working because the miners and all those things. But in general, a lot of people get mistaken. It is not a Bitcoin and all these crypto coins. There's a lot of fraud. That's what they think. There's no fraud in the blockchain technology. It is a
I love
mathematical framework. It cannot be penetrated. That's what it is. That's definitely, you're absolutely right, Dr. Gergely.
I love
Um,
blockchain technology.
Correct. So actually, yeah. So one of the things that everybody is going to ask you, so it's like a Facebook wall. You have our entire history from the day one when you're born to all the way to the your life history is there in that wall, right? In that blockchain technology.
Theoretically, uh, Every baby born should get a QR code which is specific for the baby, and the parents should aggregate the baby's medical records, the history of the pregnancy, and a genomic study, if it was done, should be immediately recorded. And then, as the baby grows, the parents will continue and aggregate the baby's or young man and eventually adult child. And once the child is 18, they take over the responsibility for themselves. If they join the army, they become the DOD medical record. Once they finish the military, it becomes the VA medical record. And if you're in a civil world, then you continue for the rest of your life. And then you have a complete history that you can, with a automatic or a AI, artificial intelligence, to study it and to predict futures. That's what AI is all about. How can I predict a patient's case today, and what would be the outcome if I give him drug A or drug B or drug C, for instance?
Dr.
You
Kirkley,
need
yeah, go ahead. Go complete, please.
you need to go back. If you have the data, then you'll find out. This is where artificial intelligence, the natural place is to predict medical outcomes.
Kirkley, there was a attempt like this, but it's not a blockchain. It's a Microsoft started Health Vault. It did not work out. They closed it actually. Google also started something. They closed it. So a lot of big companies did not succeed. Why you think this idea is going to be different than them?
Because the technology improved to begin with. Secondly, the attitude was with Microsoft was for patients to enter themselves the data and which will be stored on Microsoft. And that didn't work because people are too lazy to enter their own history.
Okay.
And all the Google's thing didn't work. I don't know why. The point is that I believe that the interest of everybody, that every patient will have their own record. This way, first of all, you keep medical privacy to the maximum when it's only communicated between your doctor and yourself as a patient. Secondly, you're responsible and you can reconcile your own medical record for error and mistakes. For instance, the EHR today, mistakes and really material mistakes are rampant because doctors are hurrying, they're under pressure, they're putting copy and paste, and it turns out data that's unreliable, and they use it for studies and drug studies, which are unreliable because of the data. This way, you can have a set of data that you, as a patient, you reconciled for accuracy, and for the patient's customer service, I would also provide the financial part of billing and payment so the patient reconcile their own accounts.
The question is, who wants the data?
The patient.
Patient wants the data. Because
The,
now all the companies, we don't even know who wants the data.
the, the,
That is a bigger problem.
the previous president gave a talk about the America First medical care that he kind of laid out. And he specifically said the patient owns the data, and he wanted to do the decentralization that I'm offering, but he couldn't do it for the circumstances.
When I get back, I will ask you what is your company name, what is our medicalpassport.com. You said that, and want to know what is a patent and what you're looking for from people to understand about your company. But I'm going to present right now. I'm going to present a topic. It's called Polymath Physicians that you can watch with me along with me. Okay,
Okay,
just
right.
just a minute. You will be on the side along with me. Um, okay. So this is Dr. Robert Gergley. He comes back and he's going to talk about passport.com, that is sponsored by medicalpassport.com. You can go and check it out. But I'm going to, the present topic is as a polymath physicians, how the physicians of the future should supposed to be. What kind of a physician in the future is going to be. After that, I'm told you that I'm going to have a treat for you for the Bollywood song. But anyway, these are the upcoming guests, and I have Dr. Gergley. I've been talking now, and John Silver is going to be tomorrow, and then Dr. Dr. Sever is going to be on the July 25th, and Katie Cole, Dr. Katie Cole, is going to be on January 26th. But anyway, what is the, oh yeah, that is, I hope I put the right, yeah. So what is a polymath physician? A polymath is an individual whose knowledge spans a substantial number of fields. So the last one is care journey. The second one is care journey. What is a UX experience? Everybody is talking about user experience. Why user experience is so important? Because you think that when patient comes to your exam room, you see them and say, "Oh, how are you, Mrs. Smith? Oh, I'm not feeling good." That's not enough. You have to know exactly when she started from home, she got the transportation, and she cannot hear. Maybe she needs a daughter or son to be around here to bring her to the doctor's office, and then she may not hear, or the transportation she may not know how to use phones to call the Uber. All these things are. Then she needs to come to the office. She needs to register it there, and then she needs to know what is the deductible and all those things. And then she needs to go back, and then she goes to pick up the medicines. She needs to go back on the transportation. That is an experience of care journey. You you cannot isolate just exam room experience. He is the only experience that is. So you can quantify that experience through user experience. Now that's called human experience. That this user experience as a human experience. User experience is more of a, how the computer, how do you get into inside and get out inside. If we are extending that to human experience, this you can quantify that actually. You can quantify that journey through the process, step by step, what they are going through. If we help them, if you understand the social determinants of the problem, so you can solve a lot of problems in healthcare. So care journey is the very important one. User experience, you need to learn what is user experience is, what the tools they use, at least to get familiar with that. The third one is a consciousness. Why do we need to know consciousness? We don't care about consciousness, but I tell you, quantum physics is telling you that the double slit experiment said that observer and observed, an observer and observed are the two, you cannot separate them out. Observer creates their own realities. So observer creates a reality, and he can is a when in the double slit experiment, a electron goes through a double slit. It is a both wave and a particle together. It's a particle wave duality. But observer makes them in his conscious mind. He makes them falling into wave function collapse into the particle. So some of the philosophers argue, some of the physicists argue that is a wave function is collapsing in the brain. So the consciousness is collapsing the brain. So observer and observer are intrinsically connected. So who is observed? The patient is observed. Who is observer? You, the doctor. That relationship is very strong. It's not just a sacred relationship. It is a perception. It is a more than a perception. It's observer, observed, and observer. They're all intrinsically connected through consciousness. You have to really understand that relationship a little bit more. If you don't understand, that is really a problem. Okay. So why you need to polymath physicians, the new physicians need to understand blockchain, the care journey EX, and understand the quantum physics a little bit, about to understand the consciousness. All these are new things That new doctors need to understand a lot of new things. Think about, he is retired, he is a older gentleman, Dr. Gergely. He is a blockchain. He's talking about blockchain. That is supposed to be that way. Let me bring him to ask him a question, and then I will bring him. So, just a minute, 1 second. I'm going to say one more thing after this. So, driven by curiosity, you don't need to be not by necessity. You should create a curiosity. Don't practice intellectual celibacy, in my view. So that is what I practice. What I say. Polymath is a new kind of physicians. Let me bring Dr. Gedley. So, how do you like it presentation?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot from you about doctors in the history and currently. And there is one thing that I would add to what you said is customer service.
Yeah,
If we just focus on really the customer, and in medicine, the customer always is the patient, and we're there to service our customer, then we cannot go wrong. And while serving the customer, we can definitely serve ourselves and get reimbursed for it. And that just not just by money, but by bigger
absolutely,
leagues.
absolutely.
And and
User experience is the that's one of the. But Dr. Gergely, that I wanted to ask you. So, what is your goal? What do you're still not even not truly retired. You're really working hard to make this idea. You patented this one. What did you patent?
I'll tell you what I did. I came up with an idea, and it's another story, but then I patented it. And since I did that, I started to basically market it, get it out on social media. I use LinkedIn mainly and Twitter and get the word out. And slowly, slowly, I got a whole bunch of followers who agree or would like to create it. Everybody wants a medical record. And you want a medical record that you can access instantly through your phone. And it works globally. Wherever you are, if you're in Paris and you don't speak French and the French doctor doesn't speak English, you have your QR code, your medical passport, you let them scan it, and they instantly can translate it to French. And this provides you with the possibility of best medical care, because for a good doctor to give you the best care, he needs first of all your history, accurate history, and then it listens to you, and then he does his physical and gets to the impression. And that's what really counts in medicine.
What is your website? Medicalpassport.com, right?
Medicalpassport.com doesn't say anything. It just sends you to my LinkedIn profile that has a
Mhm.
few articles that I wrote throughout the year, where you can learn about my idea.
Yeah,
And
my father
really,
is a I learned from you. My father is a doctor, and he passed away, but he was a doctor and a teacher. He was a small village doctor, and then people used to bring records with along with them. The patients used to carry the notes. He said that we need to go back all the way to the step number one. That is absolutely true.
you know what we cannot invent the wheel. God gave us technology, gave us a possibility to get rid of paper, but be wise while you do it. And the way ONC did it was not wise. And there was a lot of issues involved. I don't want to get into it,
Yeah,
but
that's
now we have to go back to square one when the patient is aggregating their own records. They safe keep it in the cloud, and they have instant access to it wherever they are.
okay. Thank you. Truly an honor, Doctor. Doctor, they can connect with you, Robert Gergley, in LinkedIn and medicalpassport.com. You can send an email to that website. Thank you. Truly an honor, sir. Truly honor to have you on the podcast on the podcast.
Same here. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
It's a,
I'm from a village. You can watch it, but we are done with the. But I'm from a. I'm from a village, and my village director won the. He is a near my district in the province that I'm in. My district won the. He won the Golden Globe yesterday in Los Angeles. So
absolutely.
I'm going to play that.